Hey guys, welcome to Hari's Academy. So till last lecture we have understood about what is a security group, how to create inbound and outbound rules for that particular security group. Also we have learned about key pair, right? So we have created a private key as well, and the PEM file we have also converted to PPK file, right? So today we are going to see how to create an EC2 instance. We are going to create an Ubuntu machine, okay, Ubuntu EC2, and then we are going to see how to access this one. So what are the things we would require here, right? One thing is I need to have IP address, and then I need to have an username, right? Third one is the PPK file to access to Ubuntu machine. Okay, let's get started with this creation. Now I am in the same page where we have created a key pair. Now we are going to learn about how to create an EC2 instance. I'll quickly go to instances here, and as you can see here, we haven't created any EC2 instance till now. So yeah, so you can see it says you do not have any running instances in this region. So this is region specific, and you have to ensure like you are creating it in the right region whenever you are doing it, right? So we have also seen like why this region is very important while creating an EC2 instance. This is to ensure that latency is taken care, right? So let me start with launch instance. I'll click on it, and once it loads, it shows us an AMI. AMI is nothing but an Amazon machine image. So it has a default operating system and application server and all. So we can create any type of EC2 instance here. It can be used for big data, it can be used for machine learning and all. So you can search with that kind of machine and you can find it here. So here quickly I'll start with searching for Ubuntu. Okay, when I click on Ubuntu, you can see there is one Ubuntu server which is free tier eligible. As we don't want to spend any single dime on learning the services, so we will select free tier eligible server, which is Ubuntu server 18.04. Let me select that, and then here also there are different options here to select which EC2 machine you want to have, what is the memory size you want to have, how many vCPUs you want to have, whether you want to have a GPU. You can select all those options here, but again we are restricting ourselves to a free tier because we don't want to spend a single rupee on it. So I am going to select this T2.micro. Okay, this is our type of our machine. Now I'll go to configure instance detail. Though I can see this review and launch button is very much luring, I will not go and click on this right away. I'll go to configure instance details, right? There are plenty of options here. Don't get confused or don't get panicked. We are going to learn everything in detail, not in this lecture, but yes, because there are all different topics which will be covered in the further lectures. So today we are going to just worry about this first line which says number of instances. It says how many servers you want to create. So you can give the number as 1 or 2 or anything. You can create 100,000 machines also at once, right? So that is the power of EC2 and cloud, right? So I'll create one instance here. Remaining all I'll keep it as it is. There will be VPC, subnet and all the other details I'll keep it as it is. You can also see there is one more option called as IAM role, which we have thought of discussing it in the lectures, upcoming lectures. So we will keep it as none for now. Now everything looks good to me. So I'll go to add storage. So for every server we need to have a storage, right? So by default we will have a storage size of 8 GB for this particular instance. We can increase it till 16 terabytes. That is the maximum size which you can have it for a server. Okay, so for now I am not going to change anything, but this space is nothing but called as EBS. EBS is nothing but elastic block storage. Okay, treat this as a hard disk. Whenever you have a system of your own, you also ensure to have a storage to that particular thing, right? So similar way, EBS also works the similar way. EBS is nothing but elastic block storage. It acts as a hard disk. Okay, So by default it is 8 GB, should be sufficient for now. You can see there is one very important option here which says delete on termination. So when we terminate our EC2 instance, so there are two different things. One is stop and then one is terminate. When I click on stop, it will just shut down that machine and not delete it. But when I say terminate, it terminates the entire EC2 server, right? That way you will lose everything. So at that time, if you check this button, so the data which is stored will also be lost, right? So you can uncheck it if you want to have the data stored, and even the EC2 machine is terminated, still you have the data, and then you can access and you can link it to another EC2 machine. That way we can do it. But for now I am checking this because I wanted to get this terminated when I want to remove the EC2 machine, right? You can add multiple volumes also, that is also called as EBS volumes. We will see it in the later lecture. For now we are not going more in detail about EC2. So these are the basic steps. This should look fine. Now I am going to add tags. Why these tags are very important? We have seen this earlier also, right? So tags are like if I want to use 3 servers for dev environment and 3 servers for production environment, right? And those 3 servers which I have used for dev environment, I wanted to use it for installing some CRM application or some other application, right? So for that purpose, to differentiate between the servers which we are going to create, I can add a tag here and I can say environment, or I can say something like name or anything. You can give env, I can give it as dev, and then I can add one more tag saying that application. Here I can say some ERM application, okay? Anything you can give it here, any number of tags you can give it here, maximum 50, right? So next I'll go to configure security group. So in the last session we have understood how to create a security group, what are inbound rules, what are outbound rules, right? And we have also created a security group. So you can create a security group of your own here. By default it says SSH. This is also required for us because we have to access a Linux machine. So SSH is very important. Currently I have only one security group which says HTTP. So I'll click on this, but I can add multiple security groups. So let me create a new security group saying accessing, let me write it this way, Linux security group, okay? I'm creating a new one here which will have SSH as default, and I'll give any IP for now. I can give some description, SSH to Ubuntu server, okay? Now I'll create one more rule which is for HTTP because I am planning to create a web page here. So it will automatically populate the port, and I'm going to use the same. You can see there are 2 different IP address. I'm using it here. One is for IPv4 and one is for IPv6. Okay, this will be HTTP for Ubuntu. Okay, now I'll go to review and launch. You can see there is a warning here. For now I'm ignoring it because I am allowing all the IP address. So this is also one more way of telling you, like, whatever you are giving it right now here, it is going to be dangerous if you are going to use it for long, right? So for now anyways, this is going to be deleted after some time. So I am going with the same details right now. Okay, so this is where cloud helps you to understand, like, the settings which you are giving it right now might not be a feasible one or might not be a proper one. Maybe you will have to give a thought of whether you have to change it or not. Okay, now I'll go to review and launch. See, it also says again one more time, improve your instance's security. Your security group is open to the world, right? So anyone will be able to access it. That is the reason this shows it, because we have allowed every IP address to allow in. So the security group itself is for restricting few IP addresses and allowing only the valid IP addresses to access the EC2 instance. But now I am giving it to all. I can restrict it to my own IP address, which we'll see it later, but for now I keep it as all. Now I will see all the options which are given here is valid or not. If anything I have to change it, if I'm not comfortable with any other option, I can go and edit those options here. So I have selected an Ubuntu server 18.04, and then it's a free tier eligible one. You have one instance type called t2.micro. So we will see what is instance type and all later. Now you can see there is EBS only volume. Here you can see only one volume, which is root volume, and then we have security groups, right? All the three security groups we have, all the three options we have in the protocol for the security groups, and all the other details looks fine to me. So I'll click on launch. Now if you remember, we have created a key pair yesterday, and that is what it is asking us to create. So you can also choose a existing key pair which we have created yesterday or the last session, right? So I'll select the same my demo key pair, I'll acknowledge this, and then I'll launch it. So I have the key pair already generated with PEM file. I have also converted it to PPK file using PuttyGen. Now I am ready to go with launching the instance. So I'll click on launch instance now. It will take some time. So you can see your instance are now launching. You can see view instances option here to go and check whether the instance is up and running or not. Okay, when I click on that, it says pending. I can click on the refresh button or wait for 2 or 3 minutes to have it in running status. I will click on refresh, and you can see it is in running status. So as I told you earlier, this is the power of cloud computing. I have created a server by talking to you right now, right? It will take hardly 2 or 3 minutes to have a server launched. That is the power of cloud computing. Now there are different options you have to see here. One is the public IP, which is IPv4. This is very important. We are going to learn more in detail in this session itself. And there is one more thing called as IPv6. So IPv4 are called as public IP and IPv6 are private IPs. There is also one more option called as elastic IP. There is one lecture dedicated for elastic IPs as well in the coming lectures. Okay. So you can see all the instance type, what are the details we have, right? All those are mentioned it here. Now we can also see here in the friend we have security group also here. You can see there are security groups. I can go and check it directly here. I can also see inbound rules. I can also see outbound rules here. Okay. And AMI ID, which I told you already, Amazon machine image ID, and this is like from Ubuntu. This is an Ubuntu machine which is already residing in some S3 where we have used it as a template to create our own EC2 machine. Right. Now let me try to log into this system. So if I want to connect to this EC2 machine, the easy way to do is to click on connect. There are 3 different ways to connect it. For now, I am going to do an SSH. So I told you earlier to connect to an EC2 instance, that to a Linux instance, for using PuTTY we can get it achieved, right? We will use PuTTY here, and then we need to have an IP address first. What is the IP address we have, and also what is username we have to have. PPK file is already with us, right? So IP address, I'll see what is that. For now, I'll get the username. It will be from here. You can see they have shown it with an example, Ubuntu @ this is the IP address. So this is not the similar one for us. So we'll only copy Ubuntu here. Okay. So username we have got it as Ubuntu, right? Now I'll close this one. I'll get the IP address from here. I'll click on copy, and then this is the IP address. Okay. So when I'm trying to access this using PuTTY, I'll have to enter the username in this way, right? I'll have to enter it like username @ and then I'll have to give the IP address. This is the IP address which I wanted to connect, right? So now this is what we have created. I have the IP address, I have the username. Now I have the PPK file as well. Let me go and connect to PuTTY. I'll just open PuTTY here. This looks like this. Now it is asking for an IP address. So we have already created an IP address and username. This will be like your username @ IP address. And you can see by default the port is 22 because this is SSH, correct? Now what I'll do for connecting to this, I'll go to connection and then I'll click on SSH, then I'll click on auth. Okay. When I click on auth, you can see the private key file is being asked here. this is the file which we have created and converted, right? You would have seen in the previous lecture that PEM file we have created and then we have converted that to PPK file using Partition. The same PPK file we are going to use here. Now I'll go for browse, I'll go and check it at desktop, and then I'll access the PPK file which is already visible here, right? I'll click on this and I'll click on open. So instead of directly going and clicking on open here right now, what you can do is, if you want to save this thing, you can go to session and then you can click on save, or you can click on load. Sorry, you can click on save. That should work fine. Okay. Now I'll go to SSH again and go to auth and then click on open. As this is the first time I'm logging into this particular EC2 instance, it is asking me whether this is, are you sure that you can trust this host, because it could be a malware also. So that kind of error message comes here, or warning message comes here. As I have created this machine, I know, and I'm going to click yes. You can now see we have entered into this particular EC2 instance, right? Now, what exactly I have to do with the instance now? I have logged into Ubuntu server, right? Now, to run any command, you can see that is already written here. To run any command, you will have to run it as an administrator. So, to upgrade the privileges to administrator, there is a command in Linux called as sudo super user. Sudo su will upgrade your this thing to your access to a root level. Okay. So when I click on sudo su, now I have complete access to it. Now what I have to do? So my motive here is to create a web page and show you something on that, right? So to do anything on the web page, now I have a Linux machine. Let me clear this. Okay, now I have a Linux machine, right? What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to access something over it. So I wanted to have a web page created on top of this Linux machine. So what I should do is I will be installing some tool called as Apache 2, which will help me to create a web page, right? So to install this, there are some commands which I will mention it in the comment section below. Okay. So the first command would be to get the list of softwares. Okay. To get the list of softwares, we have a command called apt-get, and then I'll click on update. Right. You can see there are different things coming up. Now, once you have all the list of all the softwares, then what I'll do, I'll probably install Apache, right? So let me go to, now what I'll do, let me enter few. Okay, so now I will try to install Apache. So there is a command called apt-get, then space install, and then I'll give Apache 2. And I click enter. It is asking me to continue. Do you want to continue? I will say yes and then click on enter. You can avoid this step by giving -y after Apache 2 space -y. That will say yes to all the questions which are going to be asked for that particular installation. That way you can avoid that step as well, right? So once it gets installed, we will have to see whether the machine is started or not. To start this Apache 2, we will have a command called service space Apache 2 space start. When I say that, it started or not. So it doesn't give any error message. So it started properly. But still, if you want to see whether it started properly or not, to check the status of it, we'll have to see service Apache 2 status. When I click that, it gives, right? So starting Apache server and all. So that means it started already, right? So that first step is done now. Now the one very important thing you have to remember about Apache 2 is that all the web pages are stored. So all the web pages are stored here. I'll just mention the path here. All the web pages are expected to be stored in the folder /var/www/html. Okay, by default it will have index.html file. So what I'll do, I'll go to this particular location. So to go to that particular location, we have a command called change directory cd, and then I'll right click on it so that the location is copied, and then I'll click on enter. Now I have entered into this particular folder. Now what I can do, I'll list the files. ls, when I want to list any file in Linux, we use this ls-la, or you can give ls also here. You can see there is one file called as index.html. I don't want to use the same index.html file. So what I'll do, I'll remove that file using a command called rm and then space the file name. The file name is index.html. Now the file is removed. Now when I do ls, it doesn't show up any file, right? So now I wanted to create a web page and then write the value into index.html, right? So creating a file, there are different options. There is a VI editor, and the very easy way is to do an echo. Echo is nothing but display, right? So you can use echo, and then you can write anything in this quotations like hello AWS or hello Ubuntu server, right? And then what I can do, I can say greater than symbol, and then I can give the file name which I wanted to create. This is already deleted, but we are now creating it using echo command, and I'll click on enter. So now this is done. I can do an ls and see whether the index.html file is there or not. Yes, it is there. Now what should I do? I have created a web page. I have used some commands to create install Apache. I have also went to that particular folder of Apache and deleted the index.html file which was already there. Now I have created one more file using that echo option, and then I have given hello Ubuntu server. So I'll have to check it somewhere to see whether the file, whether these things are done properly or not. Now what I'll do, I can do that using public IP. So when I copy the public IP and click on another tab and open it, you can see hello Ubuntu server here, right? How is this possible? Because we have allowed HTTP also in the security group. That is very important. Suppose let me try to go to this security group and remove some inbound rules. Okay, I have 80 HTTP and 22 which is SSH. So by using 22, we were able to log into our particular SSH, right? So using PuTTY, we were able to access that EC2 machine, and via 80 port, we were able to access that particular website as well. Now what I'll do is I'll go to this security group which I have created already, and then try to edit it, right? So this is the security group. It has different inbound rules. Let me edit those inbound rules and try to delete HTTP here. Okay, I have deleted HTTP here. I only have access to SSH. So that is how I will be able to connect to my EC2 instance using PuTTY. But I am not sure if this is going to work for my web page. Let me save the rules, and now I'll go to this, click on enter. Now you can see this will be rolling. It will not end, okay, because it is going to an indefinite loop. It will not show, it will not be responsive. You will not be able to see the value here, okay. So because it is not having a port enabled, like 80 port is not enabled, the firewall will not allow it to go inside and give it. So you can see the site cannot be reached. It is taking too long to respond, right? So this will go forever. What I'll do again, I'll go to this inbound rules of that particular security group, click on edit inbound rules, and then add a rule. Which rule I have to add? I have to go for HTTP because I am looking at a web page. I will again give the same default one, which is 0.0.0.0/0. This will give access to all the IPs, right? And I mention it as HTTP to a web page, right? Now I'll click on save rules and let me try to access this page again. Now you can see hello Ubuntu server is still, now again it is getting printed. So that way we have verified why security group is important, and without giving proper rules in the inbound for security group, we can restrict the access to that particular port or protocol, right? And also we have seen how to log into an EC2 instance and then do all the remaining operations like installing a server or installing Apache 2 and then saying how to create a web page, right? I hope the session is very easy to understand. In case you have any queries or in case you find any issues while logging into or SSH into your EC2 instance, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll be ready to help you on this. So we have seen how to log into an EC2 instance and do some operations on top of it. Now we are going to clean up this thing because we have already created it, and we are going to delete the instance or terminate the EC2 instance which we have already created here. So to do that, just to avoid any extra cost, I'll go to this, select it and then click on actions. Then I can go to instance state and I'll click on, there are different options here. I'm going to choose terminate. You can see start because it's already started, it is disabled, and then we have stop, which can be like shutting down the EC2 instance. This will change the IP address which we have created, right? So the IPv4 address will get changed when you click on stop. So you have to ensure like this is taken care, but to avoid changing of IP addresses, we have one concept called as elastic IPs, which we are going to discuss later. And to reboot will be like, again it is like restart, like we do it for a normal system. And terminate, we have seen that terminate, when I click on it, it will completely delete the instance, and we have also selected that EBS root volume to be deleted at the time of terminate. So the EBS root volume also would get deleted. That way we are ensuring like whatever we have created, we are going to remove those now. Okay. Only security groups and key pairs, we are not changing it because those are not chargeable, right? Let me click on terminate now. It will ask, it will say a warning like the storage also will be lost. Yes, terminate, because that is what we have given in the option. When I click on terminate, it will terminate in few minutes. Let me refresh it once again. It will take some time to terminate it. So this way we are ensuring like whatever we have created, we have also terminated it. This is like cleaning all the things which I have done. Okay. So now it is terminated. So this is how we have to, we can get rid of the servers which we have created after the usage, right? So I am going to pay only for the amount which I have used for. That is how we are going for pay as you go model here. Fine. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for other sessions. Thank you.